Hey guys, this is Nico Frico from Below Deck. You're listening to Justin and Elaine from Premier Torch.
Welcome to another episode of Bring Me Your Torch. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Elaine.
And Elaine, I am actually out of town traveling for my day job this week. So rather than having a normal episode of the podcast, we're bringing a special episode to all of our friends with a great interview.
We're going to talk to Bugsy from Below Deck right now, so let's give her a call.
On the phone, we have one of the stars of one of Bravo's hit TV shows, Below Deck Mediterranean, Bugsy Drake. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi guys, it's so awesome to be here.
I want to start off and just say yesterday was a rough episode. I really am sorry about your grandmother. It was tough to watch knowing you were going to be coming on the next day. So I'm sorry to hear about your loss.
We're really sorry about your loss, Bugsy.
It was a hard time last night watching it and reliving all those emotions. But everyone on social media was just absolutely so supportive, and I was so grateful, actually to have the support. And it's amazing how technology can actually make you feel, so supported with everyone all over the country.
Well, you did mention that she was the one that gave you the name Bugsy. Is that correct? What's the story behind that?
No, actually, she was the name. My grandma was the one who gave me my name, Christine.
Oh, okay.
Which is my birth name. Yeah. So she didn't really enjoy calling me Bugsy so much. Everyone else does.
How was it like being stuck on the ship and getting that news, though, that you couldn't leave, or you had to make the decision to leave or not?
Oh, it was the probably to this point the toughest decision I've ever made in my life, in all honesty. Just being so far away from home, and kind of, I was kind of anticipating it when I got the message from my mum to call her, because she knew obviously that I was busy and she didn't want to kind of, get me at the wrong time, because she knew we had guests coming on and whatnot. But obviously instantly as I got that message, I knew, and it was so heartbreaking, so confusing. There was just so many different emotions I didn't even know I could kind of feel going on at that point.
Definitely. And Captain Sandy was very nice and supportive of you. I really appreciated kind of the way she consoled you.
I promise you, I found a newfound respect for Captain Sandy from that point forward.
Yeah.
I didn't know her obviously very well, because it was the second day into our season, second or third day from what I can remember. And yeah, I mean, it was so good to find that commonality, because like she said on the show, she lost her mom when she was away from home and on a yacht. So she kind of could empathize with me in a way that maybe none of the other crew members could. And I think she understood exactly what I was going through at that exact point,
Definitely. Yeah, and we're sorry for your loss, and we're glad that you had that support system there on the ship for you.
Thank you. Yeah, all the crew were absolutely fantastic. So I was grateful to have that specific bunch of people on the boat with me at that point.
Definitely. And, a lot of our listeners are from the U.S., they're American. And our next question talks about you being South African. I personally am a little bit ignorant, and I thought you were from the UK. But how does somebody from South Africa actually get involved in kind of being on a yacht in Split, Croatia? I mean, how does that even happen?
And I knew where you were from, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Actually, it's really funny how many people mistake me for being from London or being British.
Yeah.
But actually, the yachting industry is just becoming fuller and fuller with South Africans as the years go by. It's kind of the new South African kind of market to get into yachting. So I would say about 80% of the yachting industry is now South African, which is quite funny. You're in Fort Lauderdale or you somewhere in the world, Croatia, and you're bumping into people from your hometown, which is bizarre, on the boat next door to you. So yeah, I mean, I kind of found out from it after I'd studied by word of mouth from one of my very good friends who'd done it as like a gap year. And she said, Bugs, you've got to try it. It's just amazing to get on a yacht. It's something I'd never kind of like imagined I would do in my wildest dreams. But I gave it a shot, and I was going to do it for one season. And 4 years later, I'm sitting right here on a super yacht in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
Sounds like a tough life.
Tough life.
We usually are pretty silly around here, and we have, fun questions. But I actually want to take this opportunity to ask you, I guess, more of a deeper question. I hope you don't mind. But I was wondering, going by your age, what was it like growing up in South Africa during such a unique period of transition, where things were changing in the country? I wondered what that would be like.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't experience, obviously, being a young child. Like, it went into democracy when I was about 4 years old, and the apartheid was over. But I think for me it was amazing to kind of grow up in the new, like having Nelson Mandela as our president was just absolutely incredible. To this day, he is one of my heroes, my ultimate heroes, with just so much forgiveness for what had been done to the people in the past. And I think we boast about ourselves, South Africans, as being the rainbow nation and embracing, all races, all religions, all cultures. And I'm just extremely proud of that. And I'm proud of my background. I mean, I never grew up at the point where it was extremely difficult. Obviously there's still a lot of hurtfulness and grudges being held back in the country. But I've got friends of all different races, all different religions, and I'm very proud to call myself a South African who grew up in that time after apartheid.
Well said. Well said. Well, we were definitely kind of digging around to find out what kind of questions we wanted to ask you, and we saw something online when you did an audition with Top Billing from 2012. We were wondering, what was that all about?
What is it?
Anything ever come out of that audition that you did?
You guys saw my audition.
Oh, you were so great. You're like, wherever adventure comes, I'll follow.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh, I'm outed. That's so funny. I actually cringe every time I go back to watch that. I was like 22, and all I wanted to be was, we've got the show Top Billing back in South Africa, which is like a lifestyle sort of, show that kind of, they go around the world. Do you guys know of Top Billing? I don't know.
No, I'd never heard of it before I saw you.
Okay, so they go all around the world, and they do like interviews of famous people and check out the latest things going on around the world and whatnot. And I have been desperate since I was little to be a Top Billing presenter, because you just get to do the coolest stuff, like jump out of airplanes and test the latest gadgets that are going on, try the latest restaurants, meet fun people, like crazy
I'm living
people.
vicariously through you right now.
Well, it's all I ever wanted to do was kind of, have an adventure show or like do something very similar to that, which Top Billing kind of is back in South Africa. So I auditioned for that at the age of 22. I think I was one of the youngest people doing it. But no, I absolutely loved the show, and I tried out for it. Didn't make it, obviously, but it was so much fun to do.
I would have hired you.
Their mistake. Yeah, their mistake.
Oh, thanks, guys. Well, you know what? It led me to greater things. Let's say that.
Just another step in the road of life, or something like that. So
that's it.
You get to the show. You're on the boat. It's the first day. You're being introduced to everybody. You're sizing up the competition, I guess, or who has what personalities. I mean, is it just a whirlwind? Is that just an insane day when you're meeting all these people and getting ready to ship out?
I mean, it still feels like a dream the first day. Like you kind of, I was just kind of very overwhelmed. It was a very overwhelming experience. It always is getting onto a new boat. I find it every single time. You getting onto a boat with people from all walks of life, different nationalities. You kind of, like, as you say, sizing people up, seeing what kind of personalities are on board and whatnot. And it's in my nature, definitely, for the first couple of days to kind of just stand back and kind of watch.
Had you seen the first season of Below Deck Mediterranean before you actually got on?
I saw one or two of the episodes, but I didn't watch the full season. I'd seen a lot of the Caribbean before, and I actually watched it on Atlantic Crossings. It was my my entertainment for those 16 days at sea. But the Mediterranean one, I'd only seen a couple of episodes, which I'm actually quite grateful for, because it kind of didn't give me any preconceived ideas on anybody.
Well,
definitely.
I think that I work in politics, so I watch shows like The West Wing. So I'd imagine as a yachty, you watch things like Below Deck.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's a very controversial topic, let's say, to yachties, because obviously it's compressed into a show. So there's everything seems heightened, but it's all realistic. And the more like I chat to people in the industry with me, I kind of say, guys, it's just like being on a boat. Can you imagine if this situation that's going on right now was filmed? It's the exact same thing. And I mean, that's what I think is so brilliant about the show, is it is extremely authentic, and it portrays life at sea, cabin fever, the dramas, the love, the tribulations, the trials, everything. And I think that's so brilliant about the show.
That's so insane, because you spent a lot of time as a chief stew, and when you got on this boat, you had to deal with Hannah, who ended up being the chief stew. How was that, dealing with her and kind of having to listen to everything that she had to say?
Did you miss the power?
I'm actually a very open-minded person. I'm pretty level-headed when it comes to stuff like that. I knew I was going in as the second stew, and that's kind of, I went in with that mindset. So it was obviously a bit of a struggle for me in the beginning, because I was a bit like uncertain of, I was trying to keep my mouth shut in certain situations, and I knew I had to, because it wasn't my role to be the chief stew. And I had to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of it all and understand that. So in the beginning, I would say the first couple of days, I had to kind of process things before I did or said anything, because I was not running the show. But because I'd taken it in between seasons, and it was just, I'd just come back from traveling and whatnot, and I wanted to keep busy, and I love being on yachts. I thought, well, it's a perfect opportunity. I can kind of go into this fun sort of season, a lot less pressures on me, and then I can get back into the Caribbean season, which is the next season, as a chief stew.
Now, last night's episode, other than what we talked about earlier, was very interesting. I've heard Mr. Skin on other radio shows and podcasts, and he's an interesting guy. I don't want to say creepy, but it's kind of the vibe I get sometimes. Was that the wackiest charter you've ever been on? Have you seen weirder stuff? But what was that whole experience like?
I have to say, hands down, that was the most insane charter I've actually ever been on. I've always worked for people who had charters that were quite conservative, actually very conservative. So that was the craziest charter I have had in my 4 years of yachting. But I loved every minute of it. It was another sort of fun thing to add to my story of life, and it was hilarious, and not a lot of people will ever get to experience such a thing in their lives, and it's something to look back and laugh about, I guess.
Was everybody else like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, definitely. I think everyone is a bit uncertain as to, like, where to look and kind of how do you behave in front of these people. And I'm going to say, like, I think it's easy to say, oh, the boys are all like Googling over the girls. But I mean, I couldn't keep my eyes away. It's something you just look at and you're like, wow, is this actually happening?
And your backdrop is sick. I mean, Croatia's right there, and you have all these like naked, scantily clad people prancing around.
Right? It's like out of a movie.
Well, they almost seem to be putting on like a show, though. Like when the two of those girls were sitting on the front of the boat, they were making this weird face, like they were. I don't know what they were trying to do. I mean, were they putting on a show for the cameras, or were they naturally just the way they were acting?
No, they were naturally just the way they were acting. It was hilarious. I mean, they're all really sweet people. But it was just so funny. They are as they come across on TV, and I think that's awesome. It was really funny though. I think if you're in that sort of line of business, you naturally are going to come across as a bit more of a poser.
I'm posing right now. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't know. We're actually doing this whole interview just like them.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, no.
The part for me that was the funniest in the episode last night was when Wes was, and I'm saying Wes, not Wiz, but Wes was standing in front of the barn. I think he was dropping the anchor, and there was just the two girls lying in front of the bridge on the bow there, and they were just tanning, and Wes is standing there extremely serious doing his job. And you just look behind him, and they just kind of tanning, and it's the funniest thing. I just thought it was hilarious.
It was great.
If you were to crash into rocks, would it really be your fault, or would it be the women who are naked and taking the attention away from the crew? Come on.
Yeah, definitely a distraction. Hello.
Well, we know it's a distraction for Bobby because he seems to get pretty intense around women. So last season it was Julia. This season it seems to be Malia and Lauren. I don't know where Bobby's head's at. I mean, how did it impact the boat? What was your experience like with Bobby?
Well, I think that Bobby is a really great guy. I really do. I think he's very misunderstood, and I think that a lot of his actions come across as, he's very passionate. Let me put it that way. He's an extremely passionate person, and I think his passion can sometimes get him into a bit of hot water. He means well, though. Definitely means well.
Well, alcohol doesn't help things, I don't think.
No, but I mean, alcohol never helps things.
Well, I just read that he and Lauren aren't even speaking right now, so, I mean, stuff must really go down.
Well, all I can say is not my circus, not my monkeys. That's about all I can say there, to be honest.
What was it like sailing around with Captain Sandy? I mean, we've seen a couple different captains over the years. We saw Captain Lee on the main below deck. Last year was Captain Mark. Sandy seems to be very hands-on, which kind of drove Hannah a little nutty, but she also seems like really a team player. She wants to make sure everybody gets enough sleep. She's not going to scream at you. I mean, she seems generally like a pretty good captain to work under.
I absolutely adore Captain Sandy, and I'm not just saying that because she's the captain. She's a really good person, and I have to say her leadership way is top-notch. Being hands-on, like it comes across, I know in the beginning as being a micromanager or whatnot, but I think that a true leader is somebody who can get their hands dirty and kind of muck in with the crew, and it's not very common that you find captains like that in the industry these days. I mean, a lot of captains, the minute they reach their captain's position, they're the captain, and that's it. They're up in the bridge, they drive the boat and paperwork and whatnot. But Sandy actually gets involved with the crew and it's very like personable. And I think that makes for an outstanding leader.
Definitely. And I personally thought she was a micromanager at first. I was like, oh, this is going to be brutal. But she seems to really care about everybody and everything she's doing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing is that, like, first impressions can kind of be a bit misleading because firstly she's a woman captain, which is amazing, but definitely not what I was expecting when I walked onto the boat. I was expecting to meet a male captain, and I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, I mean, her way, she's got a very like strong, cool but kind nature, if you know what I mean. She kind of leads, but she's got a nurturing side to her, and not to push any of her buttons. And I think she kind of commands a respect from all the crew that's kind of silent in a way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. I respect women like that.
I mean, she does a really good job because she can drive the boat with a first mate who's never around when the camera's on. So.
That's it. She's absolutely fantastic like that. Magic Sandy.
She's great. But my issue this entire season, and it's been my issue with all the Below Deck Mediterranean and Below Decks US, are everyone wants to have sex with the chef. Chef Ben, Chef Adam. What's up with these like women wanting to have sex with the people that are cooking the food in the galley?
Okay, well, let's not generalize here. I definitely was not wanting to have sex with that. I don't know. I think a chef is kind of a sexy role, you know. You've also got to keep the chef happy when you're on board so you get the delicious food. But yeah, I think chefs have that sort of demeanor about them, which is quite appealing to everyone.
Jesse's, you're in culinary school right now.
Yeah, I'm
Jesse,
signing
right?
up right now. I mean, it seems like a good deal.
Oh, you better do that. You're going to have the ladies flocking for you.
Well, even more than they already are, I think you mean.
Yeah, that's it.
Wah,
Wah, wah, wah.
wah.
No, but Adam's great, and I think he, you know, he's got this. I think it's quite unique to have a chef like Adam on board because he's got this very like rugged, like chilled sort of way about him. He keeps his cool, and you know, he presents outstanding food, and I think it's different to see. I've never worked with a chef like that before, but yeah, he's great.
And you know what? If he doesn't work out, apparently Ben is looking for women on any of the seasons, even if he's not on them. So he's got that covered.
Oh my god,
That's a really great way to ask that question, Jesse.
yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah. Funny because also a lot of the time you don't actually know what's going on. Like you think it's when you're on the show. I mean, like a lot of the stuff you sing for the first time when the episode actually comes out because you're not with everyone at all times, you know.
That's really interesting.
So yeah, it was interesting to see that FaceTime call last night. But you know, as I know it, Emily and Ben were on a break or whatever it was, and yeah.
We spoke to Emily last year, so maybe we have to check in with her and find out what's going on.
Oh, I actually met Emily the other day. We went to a fitness thing, so that was quite cool.
Yeah, she's super nice.
Yeah, we like talking to her.
So sweet.
But
Such a nice girl.
before we go, what can we expect from the rest of this season? Are you going to be seeing more naked folks, more drama, more micromanaging?
I think next episode is just going to get nakeder and nakeder, so definitely everyone should be tuning in. As for the rest of the season, I think it's going to be extremely exciting. There's a lot to come. There's a lot of love, tears, drama, fun, more beautiful sights of Croatia. Absolutely outstanding to see, and I think the whole of America is going to flock to Croatia straight at the end of the season, definitely. And yeah, I think it's a really, really good season, filled with a lot of drama and fun.
And you can tell me that I have a dirty mind, but I want to see more of a drunk Malia groping Hannah. That was my favorite part of the show so far.
Well, you have to wait and see. Stay tuned.
Well, that sounds like a good cliffhanger to end with. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Bugsy.
It was so awesome talking to you guys. And yeah, I mean, all the best. Keep watching, and we'd love to hear your feedback on Twitter and whatnot.
Well, Bugsy's the best. I mean, everybody we interview from Below Deck is awesome. We haven't had a bad experience yet, so hopefully we get many, many more of them on our show.
She was so much fun. I just love talking. One, I love talking to people from other countries, but two, her insight to what was going on that ship was priceless.
And you must be happy now that you know she's from South Africa, not from the UK.
Know that.
She's not from London town. Yeah.
I pay attention, and I listen to what people say. I'm a good listener.
Well, everybody who listens to our show is hopefully also a good listener. And if you are, you can go to our webpage at www.bringmeyourtorch.com. But where else can they go?
Facebook.com/bringmeyourtorch or Twitter.com/bringmeyourtorch without the H.
No H. You can find us on iTunes, on Stitcher, on YouTube, on pretty much anything you can think of that has podcasts. We're there. Find us, rate us, review us, love us, do whatever you got to do. And I hope one of those things you're going to do is remember that you may have come here as a stranger, but you're leaving as a friend. We'll see you next time on Bring Me Your Torch.
Bye.